Welcome everybody, I'm your host here with my first case study video. This is a new series I'm thinking of starting in which I go through an extinct species of animal and go through various information about it. The animal for today's video is the infamous American lion, also known as Panthera atrox. Origin and evolution. Now, the American lion's history in relation to its evolution is quite interesting. Over the many years, scientists have debated upon its own origins and relations. Some thought it was closer related to the tigers, and others believe it led to the offshoot of the evolution of leopards. However, with more recent studies and genetic analysis, there is evidence that it shares a direct ancestry to the Eurasian cave lion. This led to the theory that approximately 340,000 years ago, a population of early cave lions became isolated in the Americas as the ice sheet connecting it disappeared. Over the hundreds and thousands of years, the lion would have evolved into its environment with the prey and other predators that it had to compete with. This same study showed that the closest living relative to the ancient lion was unsurprisingly the modern African lion, with their divergence occurring approximately 500,000 years ago. But what type of things did they evolve during this time? That's what we'll talk about now. Physical attributes. The American lion was quite a large predator, being around 25% larger than their modern counterparts. It measured an average of 5'3" to 8'2" in length and stood around 4 foot at the shoulder. Its weight varied, with its averages being around 530 pounds, although outliers suggest that this lion could have reached 770 pounds or even 925 pounds. If these largest estimates are true, this could even put them around the size, if not larger, than the Bengal and Siberian tiger, the largest modern species of cat. Since they're larger than their modern counterparts, it would only make sense that their bite force would be far stronger. Scientists predict that their bite force is approximately 1800 psi. Now, this would be at least double of that than the modern day lion. Their skeletal structure shows that they had very powerful front legs, which does suggest that they weren't built for the chase, but rather to grapple and maneuver prey in order to get a fatal bite in. These legs were built for bursts of speed, with it being possible for it to run up to 30 miles per hour. From the preserved skin remains that have been discovered, it's likely that the pigment of the American lion was a reddish colour, which would assist in camouflaging in its environment for its surprise attacks. Now, this is impressive and all, but what about the distribution and the habitat that they lived in? Distribution and habitat. The American lion primarily inhabited regions of North America during this time. Its fossil remains have been discovered in various locations across the continent, suggesting a wide distribution. The American lion's range included areas that are now part of the United States, Mexico, and possibly parts of Central America. Fossil evidence indicates that it roamed across a diverse range of environments, including grassland, woodlands, and open habitats. To me, at least, this demonstrates that the American lion was a successful predator, as it was capable of not only living but thriving through these various different environments. But if they were thriving, what type of prey did they hunt? Hunting. There's no doubt the American lion was a formidable hunter, with its long legs allowing for short bursts of speed in which it would allow itself to catch up to most prey. The American lion's hunting prowess extended beyond a singular focus, encompassing a spectrum of Ice Age animals that roamed the ancient terrains. Among its formidable targets, there were the camelids, such as now extinct North American camel species, which once meandered through the grasslands and woodlands. In a calculated dance of survival, the American lion would stealthily pursue these herbivores, utilizing its keen senses and powerful musculature to secure its well-earned meal, grappling, and then finally delivering a killer blow. The American lion also shown its adaptability by hunting bison as a staple of the Pleistocene megafauna. These massive bovines presented a formidable challenge, yet the lion's inherent hunting skills and evolutionary adaptations allowed it to capitalize on opportunities within the grassy expanse. There's also the possibility that the giant ground sloth was on the menu. With the combination of the lion's agility and strength, it could have potentially pursuing, navigating, and challenging these massive, slow-moving mammals. To be able to do this, it would entail both strategy and finesse, as the lion employed cunning tactics to outmaneuver its sloth-like quarry. Now, although this is a possibility, I'm not quite confident in it. This is mainly because of the massive size difference between the two. By just looking at it, this sloth could have weighed between 3 to 6.5 tons. So with a single blow, in my opinion, the American lion would have been gone. So I feel like if this was a possibility for them to hunt, it would be very rare and only for desperate lions. And perhaps most strikingly, the American lion's hunt extended to young mammoths, emphasizing their fearless demeanor. This would make sense, as younger mammoths would be more vulnerable to attacks, unlike the full-grown adult counterparts which would have not been at risk from the American lion. It is unknown whether or not the American lion hunted in packs or alone. Now, if this is the case, it makes sense why the American lion was capable of taking down many of the larger mammals during this age. But in the grand view of the Pleistocene epoch, the American lion emerged as a masterful predator, its hunting prowess encompassing a wide array of Ice Age inhabitants. Its flexible hunting strategy, combining its strength, intelligence, and adaptability, allowed it to thrive amongst the dynamic and ever-changing landscape, leaving behind a legacy of predatory excellence. But obviously, the American lion wouldn't just hunt, it'd have to battle against other opponents. Now obviously the American lion wasn't the only predator in North America during this time, one of its most famous being the saber-toothed cat, specifically Smilodon fatalis. These carnivores had long, curved canine teeth, likely specialized in taking down large herbivores. They would have coexist with the two apex predators being intense competition of the same prey. On average, the Smilodon was larger than the American lion, which could mean that if they were alone or in packs against each other, that the Smilodon would more likely be the successor between the two. However, due to its teeth, they could have been very liable to breaking, giving the American lion an advantage. There was also the dire wolves. These were another prominent predator during the Pleistocene. They were larger and robust than their modern day counterparts, with their pack behavior allowing them to take down larger bison and herbivores alike. Being in a pack, it would mean that direwolves would have an intimidation factor against, let's say, a singular American lion, meaning that it is likely that they'd be able to chase off this cat off of its prey. Finally, we have the short-faced bear, known as Arcticus simus. This massive short-faced bear was a powerful competitor for resources. Their overlapping territories would have most likely led to the occasional confrontation over carcasses or territories. But if I'm being honest, the American lion didn't stand a chance against this predator. On its hind legs, this bear would have stood 10 feet at the very least, with its weight estimates being over 1,000 pounds easily. This would allow the short-faced bear to dominate and take over any carcass it wanted against the American lion and other predators alike. Now overall, when compared to its opponents, it did seem like the American lion was at a disadvantage. Not only was it slightly smaller than the saber-toothed cat, but it may have not been in a group of other cats, meaning that direwolves would be able to dominate them. And then when you think it couldn't get worse, they lived in the same territory as the massive short-faced bear. But despite all these disadvantages, the American lion still thrived during its time. The slight size difference between the saber-toothed cat meant I could still have a probable chance of defeating it in combat. And the direwolves may have been large, but the cat was no doubt larger. The American lion was still an imposing threat amongst other herbivores and carnivores alike. Now, if this predator was so successful, then how come it went extinct? Extinction. The extinction of the American lion is an ongoing research and debate among scientists. There's definitely not a single definitive point, as there were several factors which contributed to its decline and eventual extinction. The first of which being climate change. The significant climate fluctuation during this period, with glacial and interglacial cycles and rapid and extreme climates going up and down, definitely led to a shift in vegetation patterns. This would have alternated the availability for prey. These changes would have likely disrupted the food chain and affected not only the lion's ability, but most other predators' ability in able to find sufficient food. With the extinction of the larger herbivores such as mammoths, mastodons, and giant ground sloths, it likely had a cascading effect on predator populations. With the disappearance of their primary prey, lions would have struggled to find alternative food sources to sustain themselves. There's also the possibility of the competition with humans. There is debate that I've seen that whether or not during the late Pleistocene humans arrived in North America, but with the arrival of humans and spread of early populations, human hunting and competition for resources would have intensified, so this would have potentially increased pressure on the same large herbivores and hence the American lion. So competition with humans could have been a factor. But to be honest, the main reason why is the cumulative impact. It's important to understand that it wasn't a singular factor that took down these apex predators, but rather an intricate and interconnected impact of every single one. Every single impact exacerbated the other, leading to the gradual decline of American lion populations. From climate change to prey population decline to competition with humans to even the disease and pathogens which would have ravaged the weakened individuals. All of it mixed together to play a massive role that is complex to understand, but what we understand so far is that it did take out the American lions. Alright, we've reached the end to the case study. There's no doubt that the American lion was an impressive predator. An impressive animal in general. It was large, fast, strong, smart, and hunted amongst the various prey that the Ice Age had to offer. It's a shame that animals like this aren't still around, but hey, at least we can still research them and slowly understand them. If you all enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the like button, because I mean, hey, over 99% of you aren't subscribed, so subscribe so then I can survive through the YouTube algorithm. Anyways, if you guys have any other video ideas or maybe an animal you want in a case study, don't forget to comment below, and I'll see you all next time. See ya.